Lori stood at the edge of the human settlement with her daughter Mika, clutched close to her scaled chest. The strange blue sky of Earth stretched above them, so different from the purple haze of their destroyed homeworld. The journey across the stars had been harsh and unforgiving. Their ship, damaged beyond repair by asteroid impacts, had barely managed to crash land on this backwater planet. Lori was one of 30 survivors from a crew of 300. Her mate Krano had died protecting them during the landing, his body buried in the unfamiliar soil of this alien world. The human settlement called Hope Valley appeared peaceful from this distance. Humans moved about their daily tasks, unaware of being watched by 3 blinking eyes. Lori breathed through her upper gill slits, trying to calm her racing hearts. The lower atmosphere of Earth was thinner than what Xyrillians were used to, making every breath a struggle, especially for the young Mika. Whimpered softly, her skin changing to a pale blue, signaling hunger and distress. Lori stroked her head fins gently. "Promise me you will stay strong, little one," she whispered in their clicking native tongue. "We will find help here." The Xyrillian survivors had made contact with human authorities 3 days ago. Their distress signal picked up by a nearby communications tower. The humans seemed cautious but not hostile. They provided emergency supplies and temporary shelter at a safe distance from their town. The leader of Hope Valley, a man named Sam, had promised to discuss permanent arrangements, but time was running short. Xyrillian biology was not compatible with Earth for extended periods without medical intervention. A tall human male approached from the settlement. His footsteps deliberate and unhurried. Lori recognized him from previous encounters. He often brought extra supplies to their camp when others did not. This human seemed different, less afraid, more curious. He carried a container that emitted smells Lori could not identify but assumed was food. Jack Wells had volunteered to bring supplies to the aliens again today. He found himself drawn to their camp, fascinated by these beings from another world. While other humans kept their distance, Jack sought any excuse to learn more about the visitors. Most intriguing was the female with the child. She seemed to watch him with equal curiosity. "Hello again," he said with a friendly smile. "I brought some stew. There should be enough for you and the little one." Lori bowed slightly in the traditional Xyrillian greeting of respect. "Thank you for your kindness." Her translator device converted her clicking sounds to English words. "We are grateful for all assistance." Jack knelt down to look at Mika. "Hey there, kiddo," he said softly. "Got something for you too." He pulled a small, brightly colored object from his pocket, a toy car that his nephew had outgrown. Mika reached for it with her slender 6-fingered hand. Her skin flushed pink with excitement, a sign of happiness among her kind. She made soft, trilling sounds that needed no translation. "You are different from the other humans," Lori observed as they sat together on the grassy hillside. "Most avoid us or stare with suspicion." Jack shrugged. "Some people fear what they don't understand, but kids are kids no matter what planet they come from." He watched Mika playing with the toy, making engine noises that sounded surprisingly similar to human children. They ate together in comfortable silence, Lori explaining how certain Earth foods affected Xyrillian digestion. Jack listened with genuine interest, asking questions about her world, her journey, her people. When Mika fell asleep, curled against her mother, Jack asked the question that had been bothering him since they arrived. "What will happen to you all now? Your ship is beyond repair." Lori gazed at the horizon where the sun was setting in brilliant orange, a color sacred to her people. "The remaining Xyrillians will depart soon," she said softly. "A rescue vessel approaches from the Proxima colony. They received our distress call and will arrive in 7 days. But that's good news, isn't it?" Jack asked, noting the sadness in her voice. "It is good for most," Lori admitted, "but not all of us can. Leave Mika grows weaker each day. Our biology struggles with this planet's atmosphere. The rescue ship has limited medical facilities. They cannot support those already ill. The journey would kill her." She paused, her skin darkening with emotion. "And there is the matter of the decree." "The decree?" Jack asked. "The Xyrillian Council has decided that our numbers are too few to maintain genetic diversity," Lori explained. "They believe integration is our only hope for survival. They have decreed that those who find compatible mates on other worlds should remain and establish new bloodlines. Only those with human mates may remain on Earth. Jack seemed surprised trying to process this information. So, you're asking me? To Lori interrupted, her skin darkening. Further, with embarrassment, I would not presume such a thing. But the truth remains, Mika needs permanent medical care that only Earth facilities can provide. A formal bond with a human would grant us citizenship and access to such care. A bond sounds serious, Jack said carefully. In Xyrillian custom, it is similar to your marriage concept, Lori explained. It allows genetic sharing for adaptation purposes. Our species evolved to bond with compatible aliens to help survival on different worlds, is how we spread across the stars. So basically, you're asking me to marry you to save your daughter, Jack stated plainly. Wanting clarity, Lori lowered all three eyes in a gesture of humility. Yes, though I know it is much to ask of a stranger, I have no right to request such sacrifice. Jack watched Mika sleeping peacefully despite her labored breathing, her small chest rising and falling in irregular patterns. The child's determination, despite her weakness, reminded him painfully of someone his daughter Emma, who he had lost years ago in the great flooding his wife had followed, soon after leaving him alone in a world that no longer felt like home. The aliens would depart in 7 days. If Lori and Mika left with them, the journey would likely kill the child, but staying meant finding a human willing to bond with an alien widow, a commitment Jack wasn't sure he understood fully. I need time to think, Jack finally said, standing up. This is a big decision. Lori nodded, understanding human customs were different, less practical, more emotional. It made them unpredictable but also capable of extraordinary compassion when least expected. I ask only that you consider it, she said. For Mika's sake, not mine. As Jack walked back to town, his mind raced. With conflicting thoughts, the alien woman was asking the impossible, wasn't she? Yet something about her devotion to her child, her quiet dignity in the face of such desperate circumstances, touched something long dormant in his heart. Behind him at the alien camp, Mika awoke coughing violently, her smallest heart failing under the strain of Earth's atmosphere. Lori held her tightly, whispering ancient prayers to stars that seemed cold and distant in this foreign sky. Time was running out for both of them. And the decision Jack would make would change 3 lives forever across boundaries of species and space. The following morning brought heavy gray clouds and the promise of rain. Jack sat in his small kitchen staring at the cold coffee in his mug. His conversation with Lori played over and over in his mind. The desperation in her 3 eyes, the quiet dignity with which she asked the impossible. He had not slept well. Dreams of his lost family mixing with images of the alien child struggling to breathe. A knock at his door startled him from his thoughts. He opened it to find Sam, the town mayor, looking concerned. Jack, we have a situation. The Weather Service just issued a flash flood warning for the valley. The river is already rising. Jack's heart sank. The alien camp sat on the lower ground near the river. What about the Xyrillians? He asked. Sam shook his head. We sent warning, but they have no proper shelter. Their temporary structures won't hold against what's coming. We're mobilizing emergency teams now. Without thinking, Jack grabbed his rain gear and emergency pack. Years as a rescue volunteer during the great floods had prepared him for moments like this. Before Sam could say more, Jack was heading toward his truck. I'll go ahead and start evacuation, he called back. Get the community center ready. The rain fell in heavy sheets as Jack drove toward the alien camp, the road already turning to mud beneath his wheels. He could see the river swelling beyond its banks, water creeping steadily toward the makeshift shelters where the Xyrillians had made their temporary home. He found Lori attempting to move their few possessions to higher ground. Mika huddled under a waterproof tarp, her breathing more labored than before. Water rose around them already, ankle deep. You need to evacuate. Now, Jack shouted over the storm. The river will flood this entire area within hours. The other Xyrillians were gathering what little they had managed to salvage from their crashed ship, their tall forms moving with surprising grace. Despite the chaos, Lori approached Jack, her outer membrane glistening with moisture. Our people have never faced such conditions, she said. We have nowhere to go. Come with me. Jack said without hesitation, all of you. You can stay in the community hall until this passes. He helped load the aliens and their belongings into his truck and several emergency vehicles that arrived soon after Jack carried Mika, wrapped in waterproof material, her small body frighteningly light in his arms. The child looked up at him with trust in her strange eyes, making something shift inside, his chest a feeling he had thought long dead. The community hall buzzed with activity as humans prepared emergency shelters for both their own displaced citizens and the alien refugees. Some humans watched with suspicion as the Xerillians entered, but others immediately offered blankets, food, and medical assistance. Tina Baker, the town doctor, immediately noticed Mika's distress. The aliens had been examined upon arrival, but the child seemed significantly worse now. The doctor checked her breathing. With concern, the fluid in her lungs is increasing. She told Lori, she cannot process oxygen properly in our atmosphere. Your people have adapted somewhat, but children struggle more. Lori felt despair wash over her. The other Xerillians watched with sympathy, but none could help. Their focus remained on the rescue ship coming to take them home. Mika might not survive until then, let alone the journey that would follow. As night fell, the storm grew worse. The river overflowed, completely flooding the alien camp and several homes on the town's outskirts. Humans and aliens worked side by side, filling sandbags and rescuing those stranded by rising waters. Jack coordinated rescue teams, his experience during previous floods proving invaluable. He kept checking on Lori and Mika between missions, worried about the child's deteriorating condition. When he finally returned to the community hall, exhausted and soaked to the skin, he found Lori sitting alone, Mika asleep in a makeshift oxygen tent Tina had created. Where are the others? He asked, noticing the absence of the other aliens. They are helping with the evacuation efforts, Lori explained. They wish to repay the kindness shown to us. She paused, her skin changing color slightly. Our people are natural swimmers. The water is not as dangerous to us as to humans. Jack sat beside her, too tired to be surprised by this revelation. He watched Mika's chest rise and fall in the oxygen tent. Her condition had stabilized for now, but for how long? Spoke with Tina, he said quietly. She believes Mika might not survive the journey to your colony, even if she lasts until the rescue ship arrives. I know, Lori whispered, tears forming in her third eye. The emotional center of Xerillian physiology. I have always known but refused to accept it. Jack stared at the sleeping child. Something about her fierce will to live despite everything touched him deeply, reminded him of himself after losing his family, how he had gone through the motions of living without really being alive. Have you considered staying? He asked suddenly. Not just you and Mika, but all of you. Your people clearly have skills that could benefit our community. The way you're helping with the flood, your knowledge of space and other technologies. Lori shook her head sadly. The decree allows only those with human bonds to remain. The others must continue our people's journey. What if we change that? Jack said, an idea forming. What if Hope Valley offered sanctuary to all of you? Not just those willing to form bonds, Loris. Three eyes widened. The council would not approve. But would your people accept if offered? Would they stay? Some would, Lori admitted. Perhaps half our numbers are few, and the journey ahead is uncertain. Some have formed friendships here already. Jack stood up, new purpose energizing his tired body. Then we need to talk to Sam and the town council. As soon as this flood crisis passes. He looked at Mika again. And in the meantime, we need to help your daughter. The next 3 days passed in a blur of emergency response and recovery efforts. The floodwaters receded slowly, leaving mud and debris in their wake. Surprisingly, the disaster had created an unexpected bond between humans and aliens. Working together to save homes and lives had forced interaction and understanding. Xerillians proved to be excellent swimmers, and their ability to breathe underwater made them invaluable in rescuing trapped humans and retrieving important items from flooded buildings. Jack called for an emergency town meeting as soon as the immediate crisis had passed. Sam agreed, though. With reservations, the entire town gathered in the mud-stained community hall, humans and aliens alike. Jack stood before them nervously but determined to make his case. "These people came to us by accident," he began. "Their home destroyed their ship beyond repair. They asked for temporary shelter, which we provided. But I believe they offer us more than we realize. Their advanced knowledge of agriculture, space travel, medicine could benefit all of us." Sam looked skeptical. "They can't even breathe our air properly. How can they integrate into our community?" "Tina." The doctor stood up. "Actually, their biology is adaptable. Given time and proper medical support, they can adjust to our atmosphere. The adults already show signs of adaptation. It's mainly the children who struggle. And what about the rescue ship due in 2 days?" Another council member asked. "They already have a plan to leave." Jack looked at Lori, who stood with her people at the back of the hall. "This is their decision," he said. "But I believe we should offer them a choice. Hope Valley could become a sanctuary, not just for humans, but for the first Earth Xyrillian colony, a place where both species could learn from each other and grow." The debate lasted hours. Concerns raised from both sides. Questions about resources, cultural differences, long-term implications. But gradually support grew, especially from those who had worked alongside the aliens during the flood crisis. Finally, Sam called for a vote. The result surprised everyone, a narrow majority in favor of extending sanctuary to any Xyrillians who wished to remain regardless of bonding status. Jack found Lori outside the hall. After the meeting ended, she stood in the moonlight, her scaled skin reflecting silver. "The rescue ship arrives tomorrow," she said. "They expect all survivors to board." "And will you?" Jack asked softly. 6 months passed in Hope Valley, bringing changes no one could have predicted. The remaining Xyrillians, 15 adults and 4 children, had integrated into the community in ways both practical and unexpected. Their advanced knowledge of agriculture had helped human farmers develop new drought-resistant crops. Their understanding of materials science improved local construction techniques. Human medical knowledge combined with Xyrillian biology created treatments that helped the aliens adapt to Earth atmosphere. The first snow fell early that year, covering the valley in pristine white. Mika had never seen snow before. Her excitement was contagious as she ran through the drifts, her scaled body now fully adapted to Earth conditions thanks to the genetic changes from Jack's bond with Lori. The child left strange 3-toed footprints as she danced, making snow angels that looked nothing like angels, but brought joy nonetheless. Jack watched from the porch of their expanded home, sipping hot coffee, a beverage Lori had grown to enjoy as well. The bond between them had deepened over months together, not just the biological connection, but something more emotional, spiritual. Even Jack found he could sense Lori's feelings across distances, knew when she was troubled or happy. Sometimes he dreamed in Xyrillian concepts, waking with strange new understandings of the universe. Lori joined him on the porch, her scaled body wrapped in warm human clothing, a strange sight, but one the town had grown used to. She handed him a data tablet, the results from this morning's tests. Jack reviewed the information displayed in both human and Xyrillian notation. The medical team had been monitoring all bonded pairs for changes and adaptations. The results consistently showed positive developments. Increased lung efficiency in the Xyrillians, enhanced sensory perception in their human partners. Even subtle changes to digestive systems, allowing both species to process each other's foods. "It is proceeding faster than expected," Lori noted. "The genetic exchange continues to develop new pathways." Jack nodded thoughtfully. He had noticed changes in himself beyond the physical. His thinking seemed different somehow, more structured, yet also more intuitive. The bonding had changed him in ways no one had anticipated. "Is this why your people value bonding so highly?" he asked. "Not just for survival, but for growth," Lori made the clicking sound that was Xyrillian laughter. "Our scientists believe bonding was how our species evolved. Intelligence shared between different kinds of beings, creating something greater than either alone." She touched his hand gently. "Our two peoples have much to teach each other." From the snowy yard came shouts of Excitement Mika had been joined by two human children from neighboring homes. The trio played together building snow structures that combined human snowmen with Xyrillian architectural concepts. The result looked strange, yet somehow beautiful, symbolic of the integration happening throughout the community. Not everyone embraced these changes. A group of humans from surrounding communities had formed what they called the Earth Purity Movement. They protested the alien presence, claiming the Xyrillians would contaminate human genetics and culture. Their demonstrations had remained peaceful but concerning. Their latest petition demanded that all bonded pairs be relocated away from human population centers. Sam, the mayor, had called a town meeting. For that evening, to address growing tensions, Jack and Lori would need to attend as representatives of the bonded pairs. Their success story held weight in these discussions. The community hall filled quickly that evening. Humans and Xyrillians sat together in some areas, while in others they remained segregated. Sam called for order, his face showing the strain of recent weeks. "We need to address concerns from both our communities," he began. "Some fear this integration is moving too quickly without proper understanding of long-term consequences. Others believe we have a unique opportunity here to create something unprecedented, a truly integrated society, beneficial to both species. I want civil discussion, not accusations." A human man stood up. Immediately, Perry Nelson, owner of the largest farm in the region and vocal critic of the alien presence. "These creatures are changing our people," he said, pointing at Jack. "Those who bonded with them are becoming less human. Their DNA altered permanently. Is this not a form of invasion more effective than any weapon?" Jack felt anger rise, but Lori placed a calming hand on his arm. Another man stood, Evan Chen, the town doctor who had worked closely with Tina, studying the bonding effects. "The changes are mutual," he pointed out. "The Xyrillians are becoming more adapted to Earth, just as their human partners gain certain Xyrillian traits. All evidence suggests these changes are beneficial improvements to both species. The increased lung capacity alone has eliminated respiratory problems in two human participants, a female Xyrillian named Cree Rose, her three eyes blinking in sequence. Our people have practiced bonding for millennia across many worlds. It has never resulted in loss of identity, but rather enhancement of both species' unique strengths. We remain Xyrillian as humans remain human. The bonding creates bridges, not replacement." The debate continued for hours. Testimonies from bonded pairs, scientific data from the research team, fears and hopes from both communities. Jack listened carefully, sensing the emotional currents in the room. Through his bond with Lori, he felt her concern, her determination, her deep belief that this integration was meant to be. Finally, Jack stood. Everyone fell silent, curious to hear from the first human to bond. "I won't pretend I understand everything that's happening to me," he said honestly. "I feel changes, yes, but I don't feel less human. I feel more connected, not just to Lori and Mika, but to everything." His eyes swept the room. "Before the Xyrillians came, I was existing, not living, going through motions, feeling nothing. Now," he paused, searching for words. "Through this bond I have learned things about myself, about humanity I never knew. We are capable of so much more than we realize, and yes, that requires change. Growth always does." The room remained quiet as his words sank in. Then Sam spoke again. "We have a choice before us. Reject what we don't fully understand or embrace a new possibility. I propose we continue this integration, but with expanded research and transparency. Regular updates to the community, complete disclosure of all findings. Those opposed to participation can maintain their distance, but I ask that they respect others' choices." The vote was closer than Jack hoped, but ultimately in favor of continued integration with increased oversight. The Earth Purity Movement representatives walked out, vowing to take their concerns to higher authorities. But for now, Hope Valley would remain a sanctuary for this unprecedented experiment. Later that night, as snow fell again outside their window, Jack found Lori in Micah's room watching the child sleep. The young Xyrillian had drawn pictures in school that day, images of both human and Xyrillian, figures holding hands beneath a sky filled with stars. She dreams of space, Lori said softly, of showing human children her ancestral home someday. Is that possible? Jack asked technology from both our worlds, combining to make new ships, new possibilities. Lori turned her 3 eyes to him, one seeing past, one present, one future according to Xyrillian belief. Perhaps that is what bonding truly offers. Possibilities neither species could achieve alone. Jack put his arm around her shoulders, a human gesture. She had come to appreciate the connection between them, hummed with shared emotion beyond words. He thought of how far they had come in 6 short months, from desperate plea to genuine partnership, from strangers to family. Outside, their window lights appeared in the sky. A communication from the Xyrillian Council ship in orbit around Earth. After months of deliberation, the Council had finally responded to reports from Hope Valley. Their decision would influence not just this small community, but potentially relations between humans and Xyrillians across the galaxy. The message alert sounded on Laura's communicator. With trembling hands, she activated it. The 3-dimensional projection showed an elder Xyrillian, his scales faded with age, his eyes cloudy but intense. The Council has reviewed all data from the Earth integration she translated for Jack. The bond adaptations exceed all previous records. The hybrid vigor demonstrated, particularly in the children, suggests an evolutionary advancement beneficial to both species. She paused, her gill slits fluttering with emotion. The Council approves expanded bonding programs and officially recognizes Hope Valley as the first Earth Xyrillian colony with all rights and protections. Jack felt the weight of those words. What does this mean exactly? It means, Lori said, her voice filled with wonder, that we are no longer refugees. We are citizens of 2 worlds. Our children will be recognized by both governments. Our integration has become official policy. Jack thought of the protesters, the challenges still ahead. This won't make everyone happy. Lori made the clicking sound of Xyrillian laughter. Progress rarely does, but it is progress nonetheless. The beginning of something new. In Mika's room, the child stirred in her sleep as if sensing the momentous news. Her scaled hand clutched a stuffed earth animal, a gift from Jack. Her dreams filled with stars and possibilities neither of her parent species had imagined alone. The rescue ship arrived with the dawn, a sleek vessel that descended from the clouds with barely a sound. It landed in the open field beyond the town limits, where the grass still showed scorch marks from the crash landing weeks earlier. Jack watched from the hillside as Xyrillian crew members emerged, their tall forms moving with the characteristic grace of their species. Their scales shimmered in different colors as they greeted the survivors with formal gestures. Lori stood among her people, Mika held tightly in her arms. The child looked worse despite Tina's best efforts, her breathing shallow, her smallest heart struggling to maintain rhythm. The rescue ship would have better medical facilities, but the journey itself might prove too much. The impossible choice hung in the air like a physical presence. Jack approached slowly, uncertain of his welcome among so many aliens. The ship commander, a tall male with deep green scales, noticed his approach and turned, all 3 eyes focusing on the human with interest. You are the one called Jack, the commander said, his translator converting clicks and whistles to English words. We have heard of your assistance to our people. Jack nodded, uncomfortable with the attention. We all helped, he said. It was the right thing to do. The commander studied him. Your town offers sanctuary to our people. This is unprecedented. Our council must consider carefully such an invitation. Integration has never been attempted on this scale before. I understand, Jack replied. But your people have already begun to adapt here. They helped save our town during the flood. They have skills we need, and we have medical facilities that could help them adjust to our environment. It could benefit both our species. Commander seemed to consider this, his skin shifting through colors as he thought. Finally, he turned to address the gathered Xyrillians, speaking in their native tongue. Jack could not understand the words, but the reaction was immediate. Some stepped closer to the ship while others moved away toward the human settlement, families separating, making their choices clear. Lori remained where she was, caught between worlds. Mika whimpered in her arms, sensing her mother's distress. Jack wanted to go to them but held back. This was her decision, her people's custom. He had no right to interfere. The commander approached Lori, speaking softly. The child requires medical attention immediately. Our facilities are superior to human technology. Tina, who had come to check on Mika, stepped forward respectfully. Your facilities may be better, but the journey itself could kill her. The atmospheric changes the stress of space travel. Her system is too weak. The commander turned his third eye toward Tina. Then, she must remain. But our laws are clear. Only those with formal bonds may separate from our people. It is how we maintain our culture, across the stars. Jack moved forward, then standing beside Lori and Mika. What exactly does this bond involve, he asked. Both the commander and Lori stared at him in surprise. It is a genetic exchange, the commander explained. Our species evolved the ability to adapt through bonding with compatible species. It allows genetic material to be shared, creating biological changes that help survival. It is sacred and not undertaken lightly, and this would allow Lori and Mika to stay legally under your laws. Jack pressed. The commander blinked his eyes in sequence. Yes, but such bonds are permanent. Our people do not separate. Once joined, it is both biological and spiritual. Jack looked at Lori, her three eyes wide with shock at his line of questioning. Then if I agreed to this bond, they could stay, and Mika would receive the care she needs. The commander's scales darkened. You would consider such a thing human. Your species is known to us, but we have never bonded with your kind. The compatibility is theoretical. Only. Tina stepped forward again. Our preliminary tests show basic genetic compatibility. She said the human Y chromosome has markers similar to Xyrillian male genetic material. A bond might actually accelerate adaptation for both mother and child. A murmur went through the gathered aliens and humans alike. Jack kept his eyes on Lori. You asked me to consider this for Mika's sake, he said quietly. Now I am asking you, would this be acceptable to you, not just for Mika, but for yourself as well? Laura's skin flushed with deep colors, emotions Jack could not interpret. I would be honored, she said finally. But you must understand what this means. It cannot be broken. It will change both of us in ways we cannot fully predict. Jack nodded. I understand enough, he replied. Then looked at the commander. I volunteer for this bond. The commander seemed surprised but impressed by the human's determination. It must be properly witnessed and registered. He said, Our ship carries the necessary equipment for the procedure. But be warned, human once done, it cannot be undone. Your DNA will carry Xyrillian markers forever. So will hers. Jack pointed out, and Mika will live. That seems fair to me. The bonding ceremony took place that afternoon in the shadow of the rescue ship. Xyrillians and humans gathered to witness this unprecedented event. Jack felt strangely calm, despite the magnitude of what he was about to do. He had spent the morning with Tina learning what little she knew about the procedure and its effects. The Xyrillian medical officer prepared equipment that looked both familiar and alien. A device to extract genetic material and another to combine and reintroduce it. The process seemed surprisingly simple for something so profound. Mika watched from a special chamber the medical officer had prepared her condition, temporarily stabilized. Her three eyes moved between her mother and Jack, curiosity and hope, visible even across species boundaries. Are you certain? Lori asked Jack one final time as they stood before their gathered witnesses. This is more than a human marriage. It will change your biology. Your life. Jack thought of his empty house, his lonely existence since losing his family. The past weeks had awakened something in him. He thought long dead. A purpose. A connection. And yes, even the beginning of feelings he had not expected. I am certain, he said. And you? Lori touched her forehead to his in the Xyrillian gesture of deepest trust. I am certain. The procedure itself took only moments. A small amount of blood drawn from each examined and processed by alien technology. Then, re-injected, carrying modified genetic material. Jack felt a strange warmth spread through his body, not unpleasant but definitely foreign. His vision blurred momentarily, then cleared sharper than before. Colors seemed somehow richer, scents more distinct. Lori gasped beside him, her gill slits fluttering as her body processed the human DNA. The commander watched closely, monitoring both for adverse reactions, but the medical equipment showed only positive signs of acceptance. By the laws of our people, the commander announced. To all gathered, you are now bonded. Jack and Lori, may your joining bring strength to both our kinds. The rescue ship departed the next morning, carrying half the survivors. The others remained in Hope Valley, beginning the process of true integration. Temporary homes were constructed with special atmospheric regulators to ease the transition. Human scientists and doctors worked with Xyrillian knowledge to develop treatments to help adaptation. Jack, Lori, and Mika moved into his small house on the edge of town. The first true human Xyrillian family. The changes from the bond appeared slowly but steadily. Jack's lung capacity increased, his night vision improved. Lori's need for oxygen supplements decreased, her tolerance for earth foods grew. Mika showed the most dramatic improvement, her smallest heart strengthening, her breathing easing as her system incorporated human genetic traits. But the physical changes were only the beginning. They had to learn to live together. Two beings from different worlds now irrevocably connected. Cultural differences, everyday habits, communication challenges, even with translator technology, nuance and meaning sometimes got lost. Jack found himself learning Xyrillian clicks and whistles while Lori practiced human facial expressions they did not naturally use. Not everyone in town accepted their unusual family. Some humans kept their distance, whispering when they passed. A few Xyrillians who remained considered Lori too eager to abandon their ways, but others were curious, supportive, even admiring of their courage. 1 month after the bonding, Jack sat on the porch of their home watching the sunset. Lori joined him, her scaled hand finding his. The genetic changes had not altered their fundamental appearances. They remained human and Xyrillian, but something subtle had shifted in both of them. I can feel it sometimes, Jack said. The bond. How you feel, what you think. Not words exactly, but impressions. This is normal, Lori assured him. The bond creates neural pathways between bonded pairs. It helps with adaptation and survival. It will grow stronger with time. From inside the house came the sound of Mika laughing. The child had recovered beyond all expectations, adapting to Earth with the resilience of youth. She now attended the town school, learning alongside human children who had quickly accepted her differences with the easy adaptation of the young. Do you regret it? Jack asked suddenly. The bond. Staying here. Lori turned all three eyes to him. Something no Xyrillian would do except with those closest to them. I regret only that Crano never saw this world. She said, my former mate would have found humans fascinating. Your art, your music, your capacity for both destruction and compassion. But I do not regret the bond. It saved Mika, and it gave us both a new beginning. Jack squeezed her hand gently, something they had both had to learn to appreciate, the simple touch that meant so much in human culture, yet had no place in Xyrillian tradition until now. 1 year after the crash landing of the Xyrillian ship, Hope Valley hosted a celebration unlike any seen on Earth before. Humans and aliens gathered in the town square beneath banners displaying both Earth and Xyrillian symbols. The integration colony had survived its first year, despite challenges from both within and without. The Earth Purity movement had gained some followers, but also faced growing opposition from human rights groups and scientific communities fascinated by the successful bonding program. Mika, now fluent in both English and her native tongue, stood on the small stage beside the mayor. Her scaled body had grown taller, her features showing subtle signs of the genetic adaptations. She wore a dress of human design modified to accommodate her alien physiology. Around her neck hung a pendant containing soil from both Earth and her destroyed homeworld, a gift from Jack symbolizing her dual heritage. Today we celebrate 1 year of life together. Mika said, her voice strong and clear. We remember those lost in our journey, but also honor new beginnings. Her three eyes scanned the crowd, finding her mother and Jack standing together at the front, their bond now visible to all who knew what to look for in the subtle matching. patterns of their movements the way they anticipated each other's needs without speaking. 15. More human Xyrillian pairs had formed bonds over the past year, each partnership unique, yet sharing the same fundamental connection that bridged species boundaries. The children of Hope Valley, both human and Xyrillian, played together without the hesitation of their parents' generation, learning each other's languages, customs, strengths. After the ceremony, food and music filled the square. Humans sampled Xyrillian cuisine recreated with Earth ingredients, while aliens experienced the simple pleasure of ice cream for the first time. Musical instruments from both worlds created harmonies never before heard on either planet, strange and beautiful melodies that symbolized their growing integration. Jack found himself surrounded by a group of human men, farmers and tradesmen who had initially kept their distance from the aliens, but now showed cautious interest. "What's it really like?" one asked finally, being bonded to one of them. "Do you still feel like yourself?" Jack considered the question carefully, choosing his words with care. "I feel more like myself than I ever did before." He answered truthfully, "The bond doesn't replace who you are, it expands. Yet I understand things differently. See connections I missed before." He smiled. "It's like having lived your whole life with partial color blindness, then suddenly seeing the full spectrum." The men nodded, some skeptical, others thoughtful. One spoke up. "My daughter wants to study Xyrillian biology at university. Her mother thinks it's too dangerous. I don't know what to tell her. Tell her the future belongs to those who can bridge worlds." Jack suggested, "Look around you. The children don't see aliens. And humans, they just see people, friends, family. Their generation will take this integration places we can't even imagine." Across the square, Lori spoke with newly arrived Xyrillians. A small diplomatic vessel had brought representatives from the council to observe the colony firsthand. Among them was a scientist named Trell, who had studied bonding phenomena across multiple worlds. "Your human partner shows remarkable adaptation," Trell noted, examining the data on his scanner. "The neural pathways between you have developed beyond our models. I would like to include you both in our expanded research." Lori felt pride at these words, but also caution. "We are not research subjects," she reminded him. "We are people building lives together. The bond is sacred, not merely biological." Trell adjusted his gill slits in acknowledgement. "Of course, but you must understand the significance. The human genetic structure offers compatibility we have not seen before. The potential for advancement is extraordinary. The Xyrillian government has proposed expanded colonies," Lori said, changing the subject. 20 more locations across Earth with human approval. Of course, Trell clicked his agreement. Assuming approval is granted after review of Hope Valley results, the council remains cautious. Some fear humans are not ready for true integration. They lack unity, even among themselves. Lori watched as Mika joined a game with both human and Xyrillian children. Their laughter transcending language barriers. "They do not share our fears," she observed. "They adapt more quickly than we ever could. That is the true power of this integration." As evening approached, Jack and Lori found a quiet moment away from the celebration. They walked to the hillside where they had first spoken a year before the crash site, now transformed into a memorial garden, plants from both worlds growing together in symbolic harmony. Jack took Laura's hand, a gesture that had become natural between them. "I received a message from the government research team today," he said. "They want us to visit Washington to speak about our experience. The president is considering formal diplomatic relations with the Xyrillian Council." Lori studied his face, reading the emotions there through both expression and their bond. "You are concerned?" He nodded slightly. "There will be more attention, more scrutiny. Some will see us as heroes, others as traitors to humanity. The Earth Purity movement has powerful supporters. They fear what they do not understand." Lori said, "It is the same among my people. Change brings uncertainty. For millennia we bonded only with species similar to our own. This crossing of greater boundaries frightens many." From the town below came the sound of music and laughter. The celebration, continuing as stars appeared in the darkening sky. Jack looked upward, identifying constellations he had known since childhood. now overlaid with Xyrillian star names learned through his bond with Lori. Two ways of seeing the same universe. Do you ever regret it, he asked suddenly, the crash coming to Earth? All that was lost. Lori was silent for a long moment. My people believe that stars guide us to our destined paths, she said finally. Sometimes through joy, sometimes through tragedy. The destruction of our homeworld was such tragedy, yet it led us here to this moment. She touched the side of his face gently. I regret the losses, the deaths, the suffering. But I cannot regret where the stars have led us in the garden nearby. Something extraordinary was happening. A flower from Xyrillius that had been transported as a seed and carefully tended in Earth's alien soil had begun to bloom, its luminescent petals opening for the first time on this new world, releasing a soft glow and sweet scent. Xyrillian scientists had believed it could not survive in Earth's atmosphere, yet here it was, adapting, evolving, finding a way to thrive. Jack and Lori watched in wonder as the bioluminescent light spread from one bloom to another, the earth plants nearby seeming to respond, stretching toward their alien neighbors. The garden becoming a living symbol of what was happening in Hope Valley, and beyond. Mika found them there sometime later. The child now comfortable moving between both human and Xyrillian communities, a bridge generation that would never know the separation their parents had grown up with. She carried a small device in her hands, a gift from the Xyrillian delegation. Look, she said excitedly. They gave me star charts for both our worlds. See how they overlap. She manipulated the holographic display showing constellations from Earth and Xyrillia's side by side. This star looks different from each planet, but it's the same star. Different perspectives. Same reality. Jack felt something profound. In her simple observation, this was the lesson of their integration. Different perspectives. Same reality. Two species looking at the universe from their unique vantage points, yet sharing the same fundamental truths. The bonding had taught him this, in the most personal way possible, not erasing differences but creating connections across them. As night fell completely over Hope Valley, more lights appeared in the sky. Not stars but ships. More Xyrillian vessels arriving with the Council's official delegation and human aircraft bringing government representatives. The small town had become the center of something historic, the beginning of true interspecies diplomacy. Soon there would be meetings, policies, treaties, the complicated business of worlds coming together. But for this moment, Jack, Lori, and Mika simply watched the lights in the sky together, a family created across boundaries none had thought possible. 1 year ago, tomorrow would bring challenges. The Earth Purity movement had scheduled protests. Government officials would demand demonstrations of bonding benefits. Xyrillian traditionalists would question too much integration. But tonight the blooming flowers in the memorial garden glowed with promise. Mika leaned against her parents, her small hand holding both of theirs, connecting them physically as their bond connected them genetically and emotionally. I had a dream last night, she said softly. I saw a ship bigger than any we've built before, with both human and Xyrillian writing on the side. It was traveling to new stars, places neither of our people have been. The crew was mixed like us, finding new worlds together. Jack and Lori exchanged glances, feeling the same thought through their bond. Perhaps this was the true purpose of their meeting. Not just survival for Laura's people or companionship for Jack, but something larger. The beginning of a journey neither species could make alone. The stars shine differently here than on my homeworld, Lori said, but they still guide us. Her third eye, the one Xyrillians believed could see possible futures, turned upward. Perhaps they have been guiding our peoples toward each other all along.